and he's right to step up enforcement across the board. The American workers, American taxpayers, I think are really tired of feeling like second-class citizens in their own country. Like they're the interlopers as illegal immigrants brazenly demand rights and legal benefits. That dynamic is starting to change because of President Trump. We Americans and all you hardworking legal immigrants out there must demand that lawmakers stop protecting the lawbreakers and start protecting us. And that's the angle. Joining me now for reaction is Lieutenant Brian McGregor with the Kenner, Louisiana Police Department. He's investigating the attempted kidnapping incident involving an illegal alien with a machete at that Walmart that we just told you about. And in Alabama, Sandy Best, she's the sister of Amy Hawkins, who we just told you was allegedly killed by an illegal immigrant, Jose Luis Alonso de Leon, as she was cycling. And Baldwin County, Alabama DA Robert Wilters, who's prosecuting Ms. Hawkins' alleged killer. Let's start with you, Mr. Wilters. This broke my heart today to hear this story coming out of Alabama. I actually learned about it because one of my radio listeners called into my show and said a colleague of his is the actual husband of the victim in this case, and that he was distraught and devastated. And I said, well, I looked it up. I said, indeed, this happened. Tell us about this case and any more details that you've discovered.
Well, Laura, thank you for having us on tonight, and I ask you and your listeners to please pray for Amy Hawkins' family as they go through this tragic time. It seemed that on Sunday at about 12:25 p.m., Amy Hawkins was riding her bicycle on one of our roads on the eastern shore near Fairhope and Daphne. And she was northbound, and the defendant in the case, Jose Luis Alonso de Leon, was heading southbound. He swerved around a car to pass and struck Ms. Hawkins, who was riding a bicycle. He did not stop, continued on, and was found a couple of miles away several minutes later. He was highly intoxicated at that time. When he was arrested by law enforcement, they also found a stolen pistol in the vehicle. We then have learned that through checking NCIC that he has at least 7 aliases, and according to ICE, Immigration Enforcement, he was deported twice during 2014. It's a tragedy that
should never have happened. Now, this should never have happened. Sandy, this is your sister. I cannot imagine what you are going through at this moment, and it sounds hollow to say that, but I am praying for you and your family and everything that you've gone through. And her 2 children, her husband, her entire family, you. If this thing could have been vetted and he could have been prevented from coming into this country, whether through a physical barrier or through, effective deportation, I mean, your sister would be alive. I just, like, words don't even convey. I am furious about these cases, and I am saddened and, as devastated as I could be without having known your sister.
Yes, ma'am. She was a beautiful sister. She was a great mother, a great daughter. It is a tragedy.
Knowing that this is an illegal alien with 7 aliases, they're trying to track down his criminal history now. And I'm sure, Mr. Wilters, you'll be doing that. Other crimes he could have committed, a stolen gun in his possession, could have very well gone on if he already hadn't committing violent acts against other people. And it was your sister's death at his hands that caused his ultimate apprehension, and I assume will be put away for a long period of time. Further thoughts on the fact that this government was unable to keep him out of this country?
Laura, it's a tragedy.
Thank you.
Sandy?
Go ahead, Sandy.
Yes, it is a tragedy. Nothing's going to replace my sister, and I don't have the answers to that. I loved her, and yes, he should have been deported, and somehow we have to figure out a way that he wasn't able to come back in, that he wasn't able to drive a vehicle, that he wasn't able to drive drunk. I don't have the answers to that right now. All I know is that my family is hurting over the whole situation.
Let's talk to Lieutenant McGregor. The reason I wanted to bring these stories to the American people's attention tonight, Lieutenant McGregor, is because these aren't just names on a piece of paper. These Americans are personally devastated by this type of crime. And we almost had another situation unfold in Kenner in Louisiana, about 6 miles from New Orleans, on Friday. And one of our contributors here is from New Orleans. He brought this to my attention. Raymond Arroyo said, got someone with a machete in a Walmart trying to kidnap a little 2-year-old, and then goes on to try to kidnap someone else, another person who shouldn't have been in this country. This is madness. Lieutenant.
Yes.
Lieutenant McGregor, your thoughts about this case now as it stands? How did he get into this country? He was deported twice at least, we understand?
That's still things that we're looking into. We know on Friday at 2 p.m. he entered into Walmart through the garden center. He approached the deli section of the store. He engaged a female that had a 2-year-old in a grocery cart. He threatened that female. He also threatened the life of a child as well. He also put his hand on his side to indicate that he had a machete on his side. That female asked for help. He reached to grab that child, and like any mother would, she fought for her child and grabbed her child from that cart, and proceeded to get that child on the other side of that deli counter. They had some Walmart employees as well as citizens and everybody else that engaged the suspect. He ran back into the meat poultry section of the store. He drew that machete. He swung it at employees who created distance, which allowed him to get back up into the deli section, where another unexpected mother who was coming through with a infant strapped into the grocery cart, he tried to grab that child while he was still armed with the machete.
Oh my God.
Like any other mother would, she fought for her child as well. Employees that was there, in addition to a Kenner police officer that was off duty, that was working a police detail at the location, they engaged the suspect, got him down on the ground, handcuffed him, and took him into custody as well.
That's great.
As
Those Walmart employees and the off-duty officer tackled him ultimately by walking into a Walmart with a machete. And Lieutenant McGregor, didn't you also worked on a case 3 years ago, as I seem to recall, involving I think it was a Herman Rivera, who raped a 10-year-old girl, another illegal immigrant. Was that you on that case?
I've had many cases. I mean, we just finished up a murder with a dismemberment. If you look on the news, it was just recently reported that we have a conviction for second-degree murder in addition to obstruction of justice in reference to a murder that happened here in Kenner, in which an individual's body was cut up and dismembered and thrown in St. John Parish.
Well, and Kenner is a very safe community. For the most part, you have incredible policing, incredible retention, recruitment, keeping the community safe. And the community in Alabama, we were talking about, is also a very safe community. But New Orleans itself is a sanctuary city, correct? And you have bleed through from New Orleans into your community. Mitch Landrieu is worried about tearing down statues in the middle of the night. That's his big focus. But meanwhile, illegal immigrants are able to make their way into your community. I want to ask both of you, law enforcement, how important is it for local authorities to cooperate with the federal government on this immigration issue and to get these people imprisoned and then out of the country? We'll go back to you, Mr. Wilton.
Well, it's very important, Laura, and in the last year, there's been tremendous cooperation between local law enforcement and immigration authorities. where for 8 years we didn't have it. So having the knowledge that we can contact ICE and that ICE will actually come in and place a detainer on an illegal immigrant helps us tremendously. There's still some more kinks in it that have to be worked out, but the cooperation that we've had in the last year has just been tremendous.
Well, we have entire communities in the United States that are refusing to cooperate, entire state of California refusing to cooperate with federal officials, endangering the lives of Californians because individuals in the country illegally, violent criminals, are released. They go on and they create and more havoc for the American people and legal immigrants. I want to close with Sandy. Sandy, if you could say anything to, immigration officials, the government, given the fact that you've lost your sister just a few days ago, out for a beautiful bike ride on a beautiful day. She should be here enjoying her family tonight. She's an incredible person. As an American citizen, what would you say?
Let's figure a way out to fix the system. We need to fix the system so that these type of tragedies don't happen to other families.
Sandy, God bless you. Thank you for coming on this show tonight. I know it was really hard, and I know our viewers really are praying for you and your family, and thank you. And thank all of you, law enforcement, DAs. You guys have a lot of hard work to do across this country, and you guys don't get much recognition. I know you're not even looking for it, but we really appreciate you. So thank you all very, very much. And God bless your family, Sandy.